Good morning, you guys. Welcome to the Connect 0007 podcast, where human connection is everything. And I am your host, Thaddeus Sims. And today's episode is going to be about emotional intelligence. Now, this episode was actually requested from a friend of mine, and he wanted to hear my input on it. So, you guys could actually ask me to talk on some subjects. It's perfectly fine. So I wanted to dive into this too, because I'm sure you've heard it maybe like in a few podcasts of mine where I've spoken a little bit about emotional intelligence, but I never really focused in on it. So we're going to dive into that today. So no announcements or anything like that, but I do have a fun fact for you guys. So, as we all know, I have to give him my fun fact before I dive into this. So the fun fact is dolphins have names for one another. Now, that's the fun fact, but I felt like I can't just leave you all to just like, oh, okay, like what? So I had to like look into this just a little bit more. So I was like, okay, let me see what this says. Now, going into it further, it seems dolphins can call another specifically by mimicking the distinct whistle and clicks of that other dolphin. And I was like, oh, okay, that made sense, because I'm very curious to know certain dolphins' names. I can't mimic a dolphin sound, so I'm not going to even try to embarrass myself on here. But I would love to know the dolphin that I've been calling Vladimir, what his real name is. It could be click, whistle, click, click, whistle, whistle, or something else. I would like to know. Actually, because I've never been to SeaWorld and I live in Florida, right? But I just didn't care for the sea. So I don't know. I guess I'm going to watch some Animal Planet or watch some dolphin videos and see them like separate and come back and see if I can like pick up some names here. Like, I'm that interested. But okay. Getting back into the topic. All right. So emotional intelligence. Now, talking with a few people, I wanted to bring us all to the same space here as far as like, okay, what is it? So keeping it all in one meaning so we all are on the same page. So I wanted to break this up really into 6 particular points. So the first point is, what is it? And if you look at the definition, it is the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously, meaning good judgment, and empathetically. So that's what it is. Now that we're on the same page, the second point I want to go over is awareness, and basically being aware of your own emotions and others. Now, I feel like it's pretty easy that we can be aware of our own emotions. We can tell if we're mad, sad, happy, excited, blah, 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 blah. And then it's more of a step to become aware of other people's emotions, meaning we have to get outside of our world for a bit and stop thinking about our world and what's going on and be aware of other people around us. Some people don't care to do that, but as far as emotional intelligence goes, you'll be very surprised how this will benefit you. But again, being aware of other people's emotions, and some people just are not aware. So just to kind of help you out, you may be super excited, blah, blah, blah. But if you're, let's just say, I'm going to always say work. I'm just going to always use work as an example, because that's a place you kind of have to be. So if you're at work and you can just tell a certain person that comes in, a customer, a coworker, you can tell, okay, if you're excited, and that person may say, oh, you may say, hey, how's it going? And they may say, oh, so. Okay, so you can kind of tell that they're not really that happy. You can kind of get a few things. And some of you, if you're not really aware, you can pay attention to tones. That's a way to be aware. Facial expressions, body language, and just how they communicate with you. So you can tell if someone's super excited. you can hear the excitement in their voice. You can damn near feel it. If someone's sad, you can tell, they're probably either looking down, they're probably looking like they have no hope, or they're going through it. Some people who are so, they're kind of like, they could be come off nonchalant, come off like detached a little bit. I'm just giving you guys some things to be aware of if you have a hard time being aware of other people. And there are some people who are very tricky. They'll come in there smiling and things like that, and you'll think everything's going good, but their life can be going so crazy. But they're not trying to, push that on you. So that's a whole nother thing. But being aware of other people's emotions. So just wanted to give you some things to look at when you're out in the world. Now, the third thing is control. So as you can see, I'm breaking down the definition for you guys. So the control part. And breaking down with your emotions, one of the things about your emotions, I would say when it comes to control, is not letting your emotions get the better of you. So typical example, again, we're going to go with work. You're at work, and let's just say something's not going right at your job, whatever it could be, whatever you do, and you can get pissed off, right? Some people can get pissed off, and that just ruins their whole damn day. This stupid thing isn't freaking working. It's so stupid, like it annoys me. And then next thing you know, that emotion opens up a bunch of other things that may have been annoying you, that has been bothering you for God knows how long. Like, it's freaking stupid. It reminds me of my freaking girlfriend when she does this. And then now you're just feeding that emotion, and now it's just completely ruined your zen. It ruins your day or moment. Some people recover. Some people they just go through it. And it's just like, you don't want your emotions to go wild and not be able to control them. So the goal is to control your emotions, and again, not let them get the better of you. But I'm not going to be like other people and just tell you, oh, just control it. So just to give you a few examples of how to control it, because there's going to be more to the control than what most people will say. The first thing I would say is, okay, acknowledge that, yes, it pissed you off. So this is more of a mental thing. It's easier said than done, I will tell you that, but it takes practice, like with everything. So, for example, that same thing that annoyed you at work. So I would say, I'm trying to think of something that may annoy me at my job. Really trying to think of something, because I don't really let stuff get to me like that. Gosh, I'm really trying, guys. Give me some time. It's rare that I focus on stuff that annoys me. I can't. Okay, no. Okay, here we go. So if I get super, super busy at my job, and I got so many things I need to do, getting the orders, getting the food. I have 7+ tables needing all of my attention right now. I got food that needs to be ran, and I got a to-go order and to-go drinks to make. And one person comes in, and I'm literally in the middle of stuff, and they literally come to me, straight to me, and they're like, excuse me, can I get a to-go order? And it's like, okay, just give me a second. And they're like, okay, well, I'm in a bit of a rush. That annoys the hell out of me, because for me, it's just like, okay, we're being honest here, we're being authentic. For me, it's just like, okay, so-and-so, do you not see all of these people around you? Do you not see that it's only 2 people and it's a restaurant full of people? I don't care that you're in a rush. That's not my fault. You're going to have to wait until I get to you. You're going to have to do something else, because to me, I'm like, you're in a rush. That means you weren't planned. You didn't plan to eat, or you didn't plan to get stuff. I don't care. You were supposed to be prepared. So I've always been the type, and I've always learned not to let other people who aren't prepared ruin your day, and mess you up. So but it still annoys me, because it's like, bro, don't come in here and saying that, whatever. And I could have taken that and let that piss me off and have an attitude. So that's okay. Perfect example. So what I do, I'd breathe and I'd communicate to them. You're going to have to give me a moment, ma'am. I have all of these tables, to do, but here's a menu. And I will get back. I will get to you once I do whatever. That way it's communicated. Hey, I got all the stuff to do. I communicate what's going on. I don't let it bother me, and I don't let it take control of my day, right? So that's something, again, that took practice, because majority of the time when I was at another job before that, people would do that all the time and I wanted to slit their throats. But again, like I said, easier said than done. It also helps to take a moment and breathe. And it also take a moment to tell yourself, really, before things happen, if you come across these things and you normally get agitated, take a moment to tell yourself that when you do let your emotions take control or something happens, you again are giving your power away to whatever that object is, whoever that person is. So it's good to mentally prepare yourself and have these mental talks with yourself like, dang, if I'm doing this, I'm giving people control over my emotions, over how I feel, or this thing. And when you really have that conversation, you kind of look at it and it brings you more awareness of yourself. So that's a step into control. Another part of control is how to properly channel those emotions. Now, I think a lot of people tell you, oh, just control it, but we don't really talk about how to channel them. And I know me, and I know not just me, hell, the world, a lot of us need to channel these emotions sometimes. So, and it can be very hard when you're in an environment where you can't just say F it and just go somewhere. So it's really an awareness, and it's really practice on how to channel those emotions in any environment that you're in, right? Okay, so take example, like I said, with the person that could have pissed me off. Let's just say I didn't know what I do now, and I knew, okay, I need to channel this emotion. So what I would do, because I'm a little angry, I would use that anger to kind of speed up what I'm doing, like speed things up and get more accurate. Because I have that emotion, I want to use that emotion. It's like, okay, you pissed me off. I need to use this anger. I'm not going to give you, I'm not going to give you the benefit of controlling me. But what I'm going to do, because I feel it, I'm going to acknowledge that I feel this way, and I'm going to use it. So now I'm going to be very precise. I'm going to speed things up, and I'm going to get it moving, keep it going, staying in that flow. And eventually I'll forget that I got angry, and, it'll wear itself out. Now, for some people, you may not be in the environment that I'm in. So some of you may need to draw, write a poem, meditate, go wash your hands. That is it. And not saying that your hands are dirty, but it's just like, you feeling water, and you just understand, okay, water is very calming. Maybe you need to look at a picture. Maybe, I know for me, sometimes like I may be feeling a little down or whatnot, and I look at my little pictures of my little niece, and I'm always laughing and smiling, so that's like a good way of channeling that by, doing an act. So that's really the thing, doing some type of act to channel that emotion. And please, guys, when I say doing an act, that does not mean channeling that emotion by, i.e. killing a person, slapping a person, threatening a person, throwing something at a person, and any other thing that can bring harm and embarrassment to the person. And I know that's not fun. I know I just ruined the fun out of majority of you, And some of us, we think these things. I'm going to be honest. Some of us have thought of all of these things that I said. And some of us have killed many people in our heads, But that's not that fun, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. Find positive ways, to do these things. So here's a positive example, since, I just took the fun out of it. I will give you an example of driving in a car. I live in Florida. People piss me off every day when I'm driving. And I'm so glad I do not have a BB gun, because I always would think, gosh, if I had a BB gun, I would really try to shoot them in the back of the head, or shoot them near their ear, like, bro, why are you stopping? Just the stupid things that you experience in Florida. I've thought of these things. I'm going to be honest with you guys. We're all about being authentic on this podcast. So what I do now is, with the anger voice, because I know that's a lot of emotion, if a person cuts me off, and again, this is still a work in progress for me, but it's just like, if a person pisses me off, I know when you say things and do things, it comes back at you. So someone may piss me off and I'm like, you know what? I can't. I'm like, what the F is going on? Like, you freaking, You freaking stupid. Now the old me was like, I really wish my car was indestructible and I can just ram you. But no, I would say, you know what? And I said it so angrily. I hope you get a freaking promotion at your job and you have to move somewhere in a better place than where you live, because and that takes a lot of patience and a lot of control. But it's like, through anger, I'm saying something good, because it's just like, okay, if you get a promotion and you move, I don't have to experience you, and or the rest of Florida don't have to, well, this part of Florida don't have to experience you. So that takes practice. But again, learning how to channel that anger or whatever emotion into something positive or something better. And you guys can be creative, you know what I mean? So that's another thing, channeling it. And then this is the thing too that I realize is very hard for majority of the people that I have come across, is simply communicate about how you feel. And I have experienced that in a lot of different areas instead of just one. And I'm not going to tell you that it's easy, because it can be very hard if you're not used to that. And also it depends on the person as well, because there are some people it is not easy to communicate how you feel, because just how their energy is, how they come across, just who they are and things like that. But I will tell you, there are ways to increase your chances of making it a bit easier for you to communicate how you feel. So in the beginning for me, that was very hard. I would not tell a person how I'd feel, and I just bottle it up, which is not good, because that stuff is going to come out. We all know it's not healthy, but some people, they know that and they still do it. So I will tell you again, what will help with that is, if a person hurts you or whatever, know that if you don't let that go or talk about it, you're giving that person room or residence in your emotional space to take over and control, because you are not allowing yourself to heal. You're not talking about it. So therefore, that person has a bit of power in your emotional space. If you like that, by all means, continue. If you don't like that, because I know I damn sure don't like that, I work on that. I communicate and I tell a person how I feel. So like I said, here's some things that you can do to communicate with that person. Number one, do it in private. Do not, and I repeat, do not do it in public, because you are hurting yourself. And it's not really good for the other person. I say that because when you have personal problems that you put it out in the public, you are putting your stuff out there in the open, and also you're putting another person out in the open. So you are in a way kind of affecting like each other's character in a bit, meaning that person is more guarded because all eyes are on you two in the conversation. So they may not be willing. The chances are they may not be willing to. Basically, it will not go as well as if you did it in private, because all these people are looking, and now, there's a lot of high emotions and people are guarded. Now, what I mean now, if you pull the person in private, there's no other people, no one's in your business, things like that. It's between you and that person. It's more room to be vulnerable and understanding. Again, all the guards are down. So, again, talk with people in private. Ask them, hey, can I talk with you later in private? And also, too, your tone. Work really hard on your tone, because that can be a complete turnoff, and that can really have people guarded. I am one of those people when it comes to tones. If your tone's not right with me, you messed your chances are really messed up. If you say, hey, I need to talk with you later, oh no, we not fit to talk, because that tone, no, it sound like you trying to control me. That's what we fit to shut that down right there. I'm like, oh no, we don't need to talk, we're fine. That's to anybody. But if you say, hey, I was wondering if you got a chance, can me and you talk about something a little later? Okay, yeah, no problem, Ron, I got you, no problem. That's tone. So sometimes be aware of your tone as well, because that works in the communication aspect. Now, again, I'm giving you just a few pointers. Talk to the people in private. Watch your tone as well. And then finally, getting to the part where I say communicate about how you feel is, depending on your style, depending on how the other person works, whatever works for you, I know I talk too much, so it may take me a little time to get to the point, but certain people I know I have to just say exactly what it is and just get through it because they don't have time for the details. So kind of being aware of how the person talks, or if that doesn't, if you're not there yet, just communicate how you feel. And how I would do that, if let's just say some person hurt me, is I'll give you two examples. There's one person I really don't like, or at the time, I don't work with him no more. I really didn't like him, didn't care for him, didn't get along with him, nothing, but he was the manager and I needed to talk with him. And I said, hey, can I talk with you later? And he was like, yeah, sure. So he was like, what's up? And I was telling him like, hey, I feel like you don't like me or something like that. Like every time, blah, 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 blah. And he would tell me, he was like, it's not that I don't like you, which I felt he did. But he was like, it's not that I don't like you. It's just what was he saying? Basically, he was like, I need you to speed up when, you're working because you seem like you're taking your time. And I was telling him, I was like, well, I don't speed up because every time I'm like, you see it, every time people speed up in here, things always goes wrong. And I was like, but at the same time, when I don't speed up, when have you ever had a table come to talk with you? When have you ever needed to come to my table? And he was like, yeah, you're right. He was like, that's my only thing with you though. And I was like, okay, cool. We talked about it. Told him, I told him what I feel like he doesn't like me. He told me his part. I still feel like he didn't like me, but whatever. We talked about it. We got through it. I said my point. He said his point. We moved on. Switching to a person who was a bit easier, close friends. Close friends, they can always do something. And there's signs. We have signs. We always start off as the way of not communicating. We may say, we can tell, okay, something's bothering you. And I'm like, yes. What is it? Well, when you did so-and-so, it bothered me. And then we're like, okay. And then we talk about it. So again, controlling your emotions to get to the point where you can communicate how you feel. There are books on this and things like that, but I just gave you some tips. In private, make sure you do that. Watch your tone and just communicate with the people about how you feel. Because if you don't, you again are giving people residence in your emotional space and giving them the power to control you. So that was on control. Now let's get to express when it comes to emotional intelligence, is expressing yours. Now, a lot of people can do that easily. You can express how you feel. Some of us, we have difficulties expressing how we feel. I was one of those people in the past where I didn't really express how I felt because of weakness and things like that. I had to work through all of that. But expressing how you feel, that's easier said than done. So that's part of emotional intelligence, just being able to express yours. Now, a little thing with expressing your emotions is, yes, express them, but just be a little aware of those around you. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Just be a little aware of those around you. Now, another thing when it comes to people, because again, you know yourself, you're going to express yourself. Another thing when it comes to people is allowing other people to express their feelings without you reacting and stuff like that. Now, here's what I mean. We can be somewhere and there's a person who's like super, super freaking excited. Like, oh my gosh, this just happened. And blah, 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 blah. Now, I don't know about you guys, but there certain people, I can't handle their excitement. And it'll annoy me. Like if I'm focused on something and someone's expressing how they feel and they're really loud, it can piss me off, But what I do is I breathe for a moment, and instead of, reacting and getting mad, I breathe and I'm like, okay, you know what? This person's obviously excited about it, and that's good. We all deserve happiness and excitement. I may have not liked that it annoyed me or ruined it, but I'd rather have this person happy and excited about whatever it is in their life versus them being sad and depressed. Now, that's what I do, and I'm giving you that because it's a way to, again, acknowledge what it is, acknowledge how you feel, and also just take control of the situation for you in a sense of, okay, they're excited. I just told myself, okay, this is probably what it is, blah, blah, blah. And I talk to myself mentally about this so I don't react. That lets me let that person express themselves. Because let's just say if, she was on the other foot and I was the one to do that, I wouldn't want someone to kind of ruin my moment. Like I'm super excited. Like, you don't know what's going on in my life. And I was super excited about this. And then for you to come over and say, hey, can you shut the F up, please? Like, that would piss me off. Like, I just went from super excited to now super pissed off. And it's like, I don't want to do that to other people. And also being aware of their emotions, I wouldn't want them to feel that. So let me take this moment to breathe and know, hey, I'd rather them be happy about themselves. Now, I say that because when it comes to expressing, again, I don't have to talk too much about ourselves. It's pretty easy to express ourselves, be it happy, anger, sad, in between, whatever. But when it comes to other people, we have to take a moment to get outside of our world and let people express themselves without reacting and or judging them. So seeking to understand it, instead of, again, reacting to it. So that is just really expression. But I'm really going to tie all of this together because it seems like I'm just kind of throwing points at you guys, but you'll see how I tie all of this together. So the fifth point is how to handle others' emotions. Again, I already said being aware of them. I talked about that. A little thing is acknowledging. That's a big thing. Acknowledging them and how they feel. So I see it all the time. There are some people you can just kind of tell, especially if you know the person. But if you don't, you can just kind of tell something's going wrong with people. If you have the time, I'm going to say that if you have the time and you can, ask them like, hey, is everything okay? I'm noticing that you may, whatever the case may be. They may be down and it may be like something's on their mind. That's always the easy opening. I noticed something in mind. Everything okay? And they may say, oh, everything's fine. I'm just blah, blah, blah. And if you feel like, okay, that's cool. Or if you want to relate or talk with them, you can. If they seem like, they want to have that conversation. If they do open up to you and you feel like you can help them, do it. That's a form of emotional intelligence because you're acknowledging, something that's going on with them and how they feel. And you're able to just really ask them. You're sensing that. And that improves as you, become more aware. Another thing is showing empathy. Now, in this time and age, showing empathy is like some people, you would think some people have it and some people don't. But it can be very tricky. So here's what I mean. Showing empathy. So if something's going on with some people, empathize. Like, so I'm like, okay, my dog died. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that. I can't imagine how that feels. Whatever you want to say, but showing that you care. That is the goal. What you don't do is just say, oh, okay, we'll just get another dog. Don't do that. You may think, no, I don't know what you're thinking. Don't do that. Don't just say, oh, just get another dog, because you just show, oh, okay, that dog wasn't important. You don't know what that dog meant to that person. So don't do that. That just show that you didn't care. Now, here's what I mean by it can be tricky. Is that some people may have had good intentions by saying just get another dog because that's what they did to get over that experience that they had when they lost a dog. And because they didn't say it that way, they just said, oh, just get a dog. It appeared as though they did not care. And I have met so many people who are like that. They just say it how it is, but they don't come off like they with empathy. But they meant good, and people don't like them for it. And a lot of people like, I don't get it. Like, I didn't tell her nothing. Meaning like, but how you said just get another dog, it came off as if get over it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean that. So if you're one of those people, just here's an example. If I say I lost my dog, simply starting off by saying, I'm so sorry to hear that. Ask a question like, how long was he in the family? Or, what all did you guys do? Was he like a son to you? Ask questions to show you care. Now, if you're the type to say, just get another dog, then after you ask those questions, say, I relate. That's a big thing. I relate to you, and tell them how I relate to you. I lost my dog in a whatever scenario, and the pain was great and I didn't want to experience that. And so what I did was I got another dog that looked like him and named him after a quality that the other dog had, because I liked having another dog and it helped me to get through it. And, this dog is like my best friend, whatever. Say that instead of I just get another dog. So that is what I mean by showing empathy. If you're one of those people, again, show that you care, give examples, and, let people know like what you mean. Now, some of you may not be comfortable with, that sharing emotions part, but that comes with emotional intelligence, is that you need to be aware of your own emotions and how you feel, and be also aware of other people, and then also be able to communicate that in a way that's, empathetic. So yes, let's do that when it comes to emotions. And also I'm gonna, this is different, but I'm gonna say too, for males, speaking of males growing up in America, because, this could be somewhere else, majority of us are taught to not have emotions. We're taught to suck stuff up and things like that. So this is important for males to have that emotional intelligence, as in being aware of your own, being aware of others, and being able to communicate it without coming off as like, oh, I'm a macho man, I don't have emotions, F that. You know what I mean? Like, no, you have more power when you have when you're aware of your emotions. So I wanted to say that as well. And also too, the ladies will love you more when you're aware of your emotions and how to communicate that, because that means you'll be able to understand them. And I'm just saying, guys, it'll help you out. Okay, another thing, listen and respond. So I just kind of said that, again, with the dog scenario, listen, like, okay, this is what happened. And they may tell you, oh my gosh, he was my son to me, and things like that, and whatever they may say. And then they say, and then, you respond in a way that's, again, empathetic. I'm so sorry. What was his name? Things like that. However the flow of the conversation goes, respond. I already said communication when it comes to how to handle other people's emotions and things like that. So outside, someone may say, hey, this pissed me off or whatever. And then you can ask them, okay, well, why did it piss you off? And they may say, it pissed me off because blah, 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 blah. And you can communicate to them if there's a better way or a better perspective on it, and if they're open and they're listening to it, you can share that and help them with that emotion. I deal with it all the time. An example would be, there could be someone who may come in and they say, man, my girlfriend pissed me off, right? And, and it's like really messing with my head. And it's like, okay, well, what's going on? I came home last night, and I guess whatever the event was, I was too tired, and now she's like annoyed or whatever, she took it to the extreme, and now she with her friend or whatever, and it's pissing me off. And if they ask me what should I have done, I may ask them, okay, well, what was the scenario? They may tell me the scenario, and I may say, okay, well, your girlfriend was pissed. Did you ask her why she was pissed at that extreme? And they may say, no, man, I know what it is. She blah, blah, blah. And majority of the time, it's not what you think it is. It may be something more. And just communicating with the person and just letting them know when it comes to other people. Like, hey, ask questions, communicate, see what it is. Get outside of yourself. That's the biggest thing as far as, if you haven't gotten that, get outside of yourself to ask questions and connect with other people. And again, like I said, like, ask questions, and then also being authentic. That's the biggest thing that will help you with how to handle others' emotions, by being the authentic version of you. And instead of, sometimes what that means is not sugarcoating things, and sometimes just saying things as they are, or simply just being yourself. And, someone talks to you, listen. Sometimes you may not be good at giving advice, but you're a really good listener. And that helps a lot of people out when it comes to emotional intelligence. And that's the thing as well with emotional intelligence, is knowing what to be and when to be it. Meaning sometimes you may know, okay, this person's going through it and they don't really want advice. They just want me to listen. And you will just listen. And that person will figure it out and they'll be so grateful to you. Also, too, you'll find that sometimes you may not need to listen. You may need to have them stop and they need to listen. And that's a form of emotional intelligence. It comes with, being aware of that, sensing that. And there is more, obviously, on how to handle others' emotions. But it mostly just comes down to getting outside of yourself and acknowledging, being aware of them, listening, showing empathy, communicating, asking questions, being authentic. And again, going with the flow of the situation with the individual. Now, the sixth thing, and this is what really ties all of this together, is emotional maturity. And this comes with both you and another party. So you really have to ask yourself, where are you at on the scale of maturity when it comes to your emotions? So number one, are you immature? Like, are you very immature when it comes to your emotions? Meaning that if someone does something to you that makes you feel bad, do you immediately act like a child and go in a temper tantrum and you just do stupid stuff? Like, you become super petty. You may not want to talk to the person because they got you mad. You may do something stupid to get that person angry. That is some signs of you are very immature about, how you handle your emotions and things like that. So if you are immature on that, you need to work on that. And the best way to work on that is talk with someone who is very mature in their emotions and actually have these conversations. Tell them what it is that you do. Obviously, if you trust them, that's a big factor. And tell them what it is that you do and how you can work on that, and actually listen to what they're saying. Use your intuition too, but listen to what they're saying. And also, again, I will always tell you, there's books on this, on the maturity. So yes, are you immature? Because if you are not, emotional intelligence, really, you're not going to really attain that at the level that you can, because you aren't mature enough to do that, to listen to another person, to honestly express how you feel, to be able to even control your emotions, let alone being aware of other people's emotions. So if you're not, if you're very immature on that scale, this is going to be very hard for you. But again, it takes time. Now, then you have the mature. That's like, okay, you're in the middle a little bit. So that means like, okay, you're aware that, of your emotions to a degree, and people can say stuff and it pisses you off, and you kind of have a little thick skin a bit, but you don't really express how you feel, but you can listen to the person, but you won't tell them how you feel. You may go through whatever and not say nothing. You may bottle it up, and things like that. And you may, again, listen, but you may not really show the empathy to a degree that you can. Like, someone can tell you, oh, something's going on, and you may tell them, oh, okay, well, I mean, bro, just suck it up, bro. Do what you got to do and keep it moving. You know what I mean? You may say that. You may not be as authentic. And, as far as the communication go, you may not ask questions because you don't really care to dive really that deep into that. But, you have that, okay, they'll just get through it. And you keep it moving, and or you don't really care that much, So there's that scale of like, you're mature to the degree of you are aware of your emotions, and, you might express, but you may not. So it's like, it's kind of like, you're right in the middle. And then you have very mature people who are very mature about their emotions, meaning someone can come at you with a whole attitude and with such venom in their voice, and you immediately know, okay, I'm not going to let you affect my attitude. And okay, there's something that's bothering them, and you have no idea what it is, but I'm not going to let this rock me. So you already know, okay, let me breathe. Let me not give that person the power over me, and say, okay, well, so what happened? What did I do? What's going on? You seek to understand before, and you don't react. Take a breath. You seek to understand. And you actually listen to find out what the solution is, what the problem is, and things like that. So you take your time with that. You are aware. If you are wrong, you will admit, okay, hey, I'm wrong about this. You communicate whatever it is. You're listening to the person. You are responding. You're not reacting. You're acknowledging that this person is obviously pissed and things like that. And you can express as well at the same time, like, okay, hey, I don't know what it is, but, I didn't do this. But when you came at me, that made me look at you a different way, because it's just like, how is it that, whatever this scenario is, you can communicate the scenario, how it makes you feel, and tell them about it all in one walk. So it comes down to these scales of where you are at in your maturity when it comes to your emotions and things like that. And once you work on this, you'll be aware of those who are immature, who are somewhat mature, and those who are very mature when it comes to their emotions. And again, once you discover that, you'll be able to use that emotional intelligence of yours to communicate with those people, or use that emotional intelligence on yourself to get better. Because when it comes to the emotional intelligence and having it to a high degree that it could be, you do need to work on these things. You do need to have that maturity, because you just can't, you need all of those factors in there: the awareness, the control of your own emotions, being able to express how to handle other people's emotions. And I feel as though once you get to that part of how to handle others' emotions, you're well on your way to becoming very mature, because not only do you have your stuff together, you know how to control yourself, you know how you work. Now the task comes with, okay, these are people with different backgrounds, different upbringings, different views of life and whatnot. And they may see that when you get angry and things like that, you're really authentic, and that may not be the case. And you have to communicate these things while working with how that person is emotionally, because I can be very calm, but I meet people who are super emotional for me. And the emotional intelligence kicks in, where it's like, okay, I have to speak to this person through emotion instead of mental. Because I can be very mental, so I know, okay, if this person keeps saying, well, I feel like this, well, I feel like you did this, they'll hint to you with how they communicate, because they keep saying, I feel. Or some people may say, well, I think, or I'm aware, whatever. That's a little tip too. But you may need to communicate to that person, like, okay, well, I feel that when you did this, it's bothered me. And you may say, okay, I understand how you feel. I acknowledge that, but that was not the case. When I did so-and-so, this is what I meant. I wasn't aware of how it made you feel, so I do apologize there. I didn't mean that, and things like that. And, you can talk with that person. And again, sometimes it's on other people. You can't control how other people will respond or react. And people just start losing it and they just go crazy. Then that's when okay, you did your part, and I'm going to leave them where they're at, and you keep it moving. That's where I need to make a shirt, keep it moving, and things like that. So again, I can go on and on when it comes to emotional intelligence, how to use it and things like that. But this is pretty much like the gist of it. So yeah, man, use that emotional intelligence and be aware. And you'll be very surprised that a lot of people will flock to you. A lot of people will come to you and things like that, because you are aware of their emotions. You're able to communicate and things like that. And you'll find that you'll be able to really deal with a lot of different people, a diverse amount of people. And as you do that, and as you become more aware, and as you become gain more maturity, you will find that you can work with any type of temperament, any type of person, and be able to communicate with it. It's very interesting. And emotional intelligence will go a very long way. No matter what you do, it will go a very long way. Help you get promotions, god dang it. It will help improve your life, your relationships. Sorry, needed some water there. It will help you improve your relationships and overall just the betterment of your life. So with that being said, that was emotional intelligence. I hope you gained something from it. If you need to, you probably may need to replay this podcast on a lot of different things, because I know I went on some different topics here. So with that being said, I will talk to you all very soon. You all have a fantastic Tuesday, and you will be hearing from me Friday. Alrighty, guys. Later.